Good morning from day 3 of our cruise aboard the Disney Wonder. Today is Glacier Day.
What?
So,
I know we are bundled. I'm trying to continue to add more layers of bundling. But we wanted to say hi, good morning.
yes,
We had breakfast.
we did, because today was Churro Waffle Day,
It was.
part 1, because it comes back later in the cruise. So, Churro Waffles, we are officially in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
We set the clocks back last night, so got an extra hour of sleep. Saw a beautiful sunrise this morning over the mountains, so exciting day ahead. Time to go wait in line for some characters. And then later this afternoon, we have our Glacier Day excursion.
Yes.
So excited for that as well. So come along with us and enjoy Glacier Day. Okay, so we are back in the room after a very long day. It's already bedtime, but to recap our day.
We're calling this robe rewind because today, at one point, when we came into our room, we found slippers and robes, which we believe are courtesy of our stateroom host, Pow, but we're not positive. That's the thing that makes the most sense. But
We don't really know what happened, because these are the concierge robes, I'm pretty sure,
they're nice.
and the concierge slippers, because the logo was the gold Disney Cruise Line logo, which I'm pretty sure is the concierge logo. But yes, on the robes as well. So that was a random kind of moment of the day.
And they're both size small. The robes are so.
Yeah, so little short on my arms. But
yeah, I was gonna say it fits one of us, and one it's a little high water.
But luckily, robes are oversized to begin
Yes.
with.
So robe rewind time,
Yes.
where we'll talk about our day, Glacier Day,
Yes.
here on the Disney Wonder.
So at this point, I would have shown all of the kind of clips of the characters we saw and the kind of scenery as we were pulling in to the fjord this morning. Lots of fun. We actually got very lucky with the characters.
So we'll talk about what worked and what didn't. We got in line for Mickey first an hour before his time, and we were that far back in line. We probably waited an hour, and then once he started, it was an additional
45 minutes.
45 minutes. So we waited an hour and 45 minutes to see Mickey. And before we even got to Mickey, they had closed the line for Minnie, so we did not see Minnie today. We were told that she'll be in her Alaskan gear another day, but so that was a slight disappointment because before even they're supposed to close the line 10 or 15 minutes depending on what's in the app after the posted start time of the meet and greet, but Minnie's line was closed well before then
because Minnie's meet and greet was 9:30, Mickey's was 9. So, and it was listed as 10 minutes today, so in theory the lines should have been open from 9:30 to 9:40. I walked over there at 9:35 and it was already closed. So not sure when Minnie's line closed, but it was closed before the normal cutoff time for her line.
right.
So
because we were
but-
like, can we make it? No,
it was very long, so I do think that it might have closed earlier due
it just
to
hit capacity.
Yeah.
So But we understand. We made the choice to prioritize Mickey because of what we had going on later in the day, so did not see Minnie. But after we saw Mickey, we just looped back around and ended up as the fourth family in line to see Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. It really wasn't bad to wait in the lines for the characters, especially early in the morning, because that's when the whales were very active.
Very active.
We were seeing the spouts, we were seeing the tails, we saw one leap and crash like it was in a nature documentary.
Yeah.
So it was very cool, and everybody was super excited and super nice in line. So saw Goofy, and then scurried over to Donald's line across the way.
A lot of back and forth today.
Yes, and then we waited for Donald, and then looped back to the other side for Daisy, and then Daisy's line took a bit longer than we expected.
Yes.
So, but during this time, he and I took turns eating lunch, basically. Just so one of us could wait in line, the other, we would just tag team it. And one would go down to the pool deck. I had shawarma. You had pizza.
I had pizza earlier and then shawarma later.
Yeah, because we started the day so early that we basically had super early breakfast, then first lunch, second lunch, through the morning, late afternoon, you know. But by the time we got through Daisy, we were like, we don't have time for Pluto. If we want to try to see Koda from Brother Bear, who's kind of a secret surprise meet and greet on Alaskan cruises. From what we had heard, Koda would be on deck 4, just kind of walking around outside from noon to 2, approximately. So we said, if we're going to go, we got to try. We're running out of time. So scurried down, stepped outside, and there he was.
Yes, so saw him immediately. And
So
he is not posted in the app at all. And this is the one and only time you can see him on this cruise.
right.
We figured that Pluto comes out later, so we could see Pluto again. We also already saw Pluto in his cruise outfit day 1.
Right. Pluto's outfits are not quite as exciting as some of the other characters.
True.
So we were like, do you go for the secret special character, or do you go for a character who, even if you see them inside, you can probably see them later? So we went for Koda. But because it was so fast, we ran up, and then we were the second to last family in line to see Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
So knocked out Pluto. Basically, the only main character that we did not see today was Minnie. And I mean, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But we were incredibly lucky. And if we had not done our Glacier Explorer, we could have gotten in line for Minnie later in the afternoon.
True.
So that was the reason that this morning was so hectic, because
Basically, because of our excursion, we only had one shot to see Donald, Daisy, and Minnie.
Yeah.
And kind
Mickey.
of Pluto. Mickey came out again tonight, so we could have seen him tonight.
But not upstairs outside.
True.
So basically, though, that was why the morning was so hectic.
Yes.
But we had a really nice time. We got incredibly lucky with the weather. The wind was a lot.
Wind was winding today.
Yes. So I feel like my face is feeling the wind.
Yes.
We did wear sunscreen today.
We did.
I wore more than you, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we did our best to prepare for the weather. Sometimes we were cold when we were bundled up, and sometimes we were warm. But today the sun was shining. From what we heard, this was the best weather they have had in the last 3 months for Glacier Day.
Yeah. And the last 3 months being this Alaskan season.
Right. So we got super lucky.
Yeah. Clear skies, no rain.
There was one fluffy little cloud peeking over the mountaintop, and otherwise no clouds when we were out and about this morning.
Yeah.
So super lucky. But basically that took us until about 2-ish.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I'll say is very strange to be on the deck and have it be silent.
Except for one time when like inexplicably it went and then started playing Feed the Birds
Yeah.
from Mary Poppins. So it was kind of like this weird like record scratch sound.
We thought it was whale calls.
We didn't know what was happening, and then all of a sudden it's Feed the Birds.
Yeah.
But it was pretty, and then we were like, oopsie, and turned that off.
Yeah. But other than that, it was silent for the most part, the whole day, whole morning, until one small part when we entered the Endicott Arm,
mm-hmm.
and the naturalist came on board and kind of talked through what we were passing, what was about to happen.
I think we were in line for Pluto.
We were in line for Pluto during that. And on the screen, they switched over from like just the Disney Wonder logo to be either the camera for the front of the ship, so what the ship was looking at, or cameras to the sides of the ship to be like, on your left is this waterfall, so like look at this. Ooh. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. Just to kind of have somebody explain what was happening as we were going on down the fjord. But yeah, then after you said about 2:00, we came back to the room
where we found robes, slippers, and a bottle of Cloud and Blue from guest services.
Yes.
Our sink was leaking, so we were like, hey, whenever we turn on the faucet, water leaks out of the handles. And they were like, oh no, and sent somebody to fix it. And we said, cool, thank you. And then came back to that. So they didn't have to do that at all.
No.
But now we have Cloud and Blue to celebrate your birthday.
True.
And to celebrate a not leaking sink.
Very true.
So I'm glad Miss Wonder could get her sink fixed. And, you know, sometimes they're just happy to know if there's a problem because they want to fix it. They want to keep the ships in the best possible condition.
Yeah.
So if you run across something that's like not quite right in your stateroom, don't be afraid to tell guest services because they always go above and beyond because they want you to have a good time and because they want everything to last and work properly for a long, long time.
True. But so in addition to seeing all the new things that we had in our room,
we looked out on the balcony a little bit,
mm-hmm.
which was very pretty, and then basically it was
time to get ready to go for our excursion.
Time, yes, for our adult exclusive Glacier Explorer.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's called.
DG02 is the code for Disney Cruise Line. But we did get to see Dawes Glacier.
Yes.
So there's always the question of, will you see Dawes? Will you see Sawyer Glacier? Today we saw Dawes Glacier.
I'm also very dehydrated.
Yeah.
Up on the deck. We'll try to give you some tips, but tip number 1 is like, don't forget to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
On a day like today.
Today was so busy.
And we have a tendency to do this in the parks as well. But feed yourself. Drink plenty of water. Sit down when you need to. And I think we could not have done what we did if there were not at least 2 people.
True. It would have been very hard as a solo person to eat and all that kind of stuff.
If you wanted to do an excursion like we did, you could not have done everything we did.
Something else to mention on the deck before we talk about our excursion. They did come around with carts of hot chocolate with the option to add some alcohol to the hot chocolate or coffee for those over age 21. And then in the front of the ship, they had another hot chocolate station and a station for cookies. So if you wanted some chocolate chip cookies, you can get those as well.
I never saw that.
No, I brought you a cookie though.
It was fine.
The cookie was not exceptional. The hot chocolate though
was
very good.
It was a lot better than the hot chocolate in the machines on deck.
Yes.
Because I tried to get some of that and it was half watered down pretty much.
Yeah. So we saw I saw that hot chocolate station in the front of the ship and it was on the carts as well. We also found that on deck 4. So if you were not wanting to go with all the crowds on deck 9 and 10, you could enjoy the hot chocolate on deck 4 as well.
There were also photographers walking
Yes.
around taking photos of people in the lines while people were up on deck for the characters specifically. And from what we heard, because the photographer said, "Did you go on an excursion? Because I didn't see you." They were still going around in the afternoons during the glacier time. So I imagine people got some really nice
True.
professional photos because everything on our glacier expedition excursion, it's cell phone pictures
True. Or this camera or whatnot.
or our old vlogging camera.
Yes.
So
But moving into the excursion itself, so like I said, we did the adult exclusive Glacier Explorer, which is pretty pricey.
it is.
But I will put clips of the whole excursion experience right here. So overall, I do think that it is worth it, at least for us, to have done it.
Here's what I will say. I think no matter what happens, there's going to be three things about these glacier boat expeditions. There's going to be the people who didn't do it, and they're going to say, "Oh, we got so close. You don't need to do that. It's not worth it." There's going to be the people who say, "You have to do it. It's so worth it," etc., etc., etc. And then there's going to be the people who did it and say, "Oh, it was so expensive. It wasn't worth the money." So I think you're going to hear different things from different people. We did it, and I think we would do it again.
Yes.
So
if you can reasonably do it for yourself, your family, because it would get expensive if you had a very big group.
there was one group that did not show up. That was 3 staterooms.
Right.
Can you imagine?
So, and the adults exclusive one is a little more expensive than the family one, just because there are a little bit of extra things. So, extra things for the adult one, you get a kind of welcome toast of champagne.
It was approximately 3 ounces in a plastic cup.
Yeah. You also get a drink coupon, which you can redeem for beer or wine on the ship, or their kind of exclusive glacier-rita. So
And I will say that I think the champagne, the drink coupon, and the options for that worth
yes,
that. I thought that was a good value. There were several guys walking around with Alaskan craft beers
mm-hmm.
and tons of people with glacier-ritas.
Yeah.
There were also two other cocktails,
I would assume you could use it for any of the three
but
because they're all the same price.
we did not ask. But I know one was a spiked coffee or hot chocolate.
That was the two. One was spiked coffee, one was spiked hot
No,
chocolate.
there was a third.
Oh, there was the blueberry one that people.
It
were
was
getting.
one that had blueberry syrup in the bottom.
Yeah.
So not sure what that one was, but we got the glacier-ritas because we like a margarita.
Yeah.
And just, you know.
Basically, the glacier-rita is a blue margarita with glacier ice. So
Instead of regular ice cubes, there was somebody in the galley of the ship banging on an ice chip, I guess,
right.
to break it apart to put into the drinks.
Yeah.
But basically, we all went to the D lounge, so on deck 4, and then if you have mobility concerns, they asked, do you need an elevator or can you do the stairs? They said, how many flights? We're going from deck 4 to deck 1. So some people took the option for the elevators, others walked, and then we got off of the Wonder and onto the little boat.
I will say for accessibility and mobility issues, you would not be able to do it in a wheelchair.
No.
You would have to be able to walk onto the ship, but you could stay on the lower level and be totally fine. You'd be in enclosed cabin, you're in the warmth. And
I think you could potentially roll onto the ship, but almost every doorway or entrance was a step up or over.
Yeah.
Because there were a few times that I was like, oh no, I gotta go up and over.
Yeah.
So it was not super accessible.
Mm.
I think they would do their best to accommodate, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. But the lower level had, or the ship boat had a lower level, an upper level, and then on the upper level there was an outside component, and then when we stopped, they opened up like a third deck on top. We spent the majority of the time
on the second level,
on the outside part.
The bottom main level, there is no outside access. It is completely enclosed. It is heated. The second level has a main section that is enclosed and heated, and then there was kind of a back open area that kind of wrapped around most of the boat. And then that level had the stairs that went up to the top level that you could see in the clips.
What I will say is if you are staying in the inside portions of the boat, you get a narrator the entire trek.
Most of it. She said that she would talk mostly after glacier time.
Okay.
Because there were things that we liked and things that we didn't love. So one thing that was hard was that if you were outside, you could not hear anything from the naturalist. So if that's important to you, you're going to have to spend time inside. It was nice that the inside was heated.
Mm-hmm.
So because it was cold, so sometimes you could go in and warm up a bit. That was also where all of the included food and beverages were.
Yes. So
if you did not go inside, you would not get the food or drinks that were supposed to be included in your excursion.
Because in addition to the drinks included with the adults version of the tour, it included some snacks. So there was a charcuterie little plate, some meats and cheeses and crackers, and then later in the excursion they brought out some strawberries as well on the charcuterie board. Then round 2 of the snacks was a smoked salmon dip. Mm-hmm. And then round 3 of the snacks was some pastries, which was a spinach and leek.
There was a chocolate, an apple, and a spinach. And I said, "What's the best one? What's your favorite?" And they said spinach, and I said, "Okay." So that's what I got.
Yeah.
But if I had not gone inside, I would not have gotten that. He did not go inside. He did not get one.
Mhm.
So I guess that's a tip, that if it's important to you to get the food that's supposed to be included in the excursion, you have to go inside.
True. But excursion as a whole was very cool. We got very close to the glacier.
Legally, I think you can get about a quarter mile.
Yes. Um, the Wonder did not get that close.
No, the Wonder supposedly got closer to and spent more time by the glacier than they had through the season.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked to somebody and they basically said, a cast member said, basically it was, you get there, 15, 15, and you get out of town. And that they sat for about a half hour today.
Yeah.
So, it seemed like the weather conditions were just really good. They were able to see some seals that we also saw, but basically the people on board, I'm sure, had a wonderful time. I'm sure they had plenty of time to see the glacier and took tons of beautiful photos, but they did not get as close as we did.
Yes.
So that was a very cool experience, to have nothing in front of you
True.
but broken pieces of ice floating in the water.
They also pulled up a piece of glacier ice that was floating for us to hold.
And would take photos.
And take pictures on deck, which is pretty cool. After the time by the glacier, we
But what we'll say is, in general,
yeah,
but especially by the glacier, as soon as that the rope is pulled away from the top, the third deck, people rush like crazy.
Yeah.
It is a mad dash. And then it is crazy. And we went up there and somebody was nice enough to let us squeeze in to take a selfie. And then we just got down because we knew that we had a 3-hour excursion. We did not need to stand up there for hours. And then, after being up there for a while, the boat starts to rotate different ways. So basically, if you stay on either side of the boat long enough, you're going to get a clear shot of the glacier.
True. And everything we pass.
Yes. So that was across the board. You don't need to go up to the third deck, I think, at all. You would not have to do that at all.
No, we kind of liked our spot at the very back of the second deck outside.
Either on the side or the back. The back was great because if you see something, they're always going to turn around and go away from it.
True.
So if you're near the back of the boat, at some point you're going to be the front of the boat. So for your pictures, it's easier to crop a photo in than to try to cut out people and hands and phones in your way, like, you know.
True.
So that's kind of our biggest tip across the board. Don't rush with the crowd. Just hang towards the back because everything rotates.
Yeah. But then saw lots of waterfalls as well. Made our way into different kind of arms of the fjord
After leaving the glacier. But as we were leaving the glacier, the Wonder passed us, kind of, or we crossed, because we were leaving our boat behind, and that felt a bit spooky. But we ended up by a waterfall where we could see the glacier and the Wonder, so that was very cool and a good photo spot.
We got to see the seals.
Yes, but at that waterfall, we were close enough that you could feel the mist of the waterfall on your face while you looked back and saw the Wonder and the glacier in the distance.
True.
So that was like a really epic experience.
And that you wouldn't get on the ship, on the Wonder.
Right. There were also, like, you could smell, it smelled like dirt and pine and fresh and not like a scented candle. Like, just, it was really nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you would get that on the Wonder either.
No.
But basically, once we left the glacier, we just started hanging out in the back because we figured out our little hack that It was always going to turn around.
Mhm.
So had a nice time exploring. We saw the seals. We did not see any bears. We saw several waterfalls.
We did not see any mountain goats either.
At least that we could see.
Yeah.
They drove us around an iceberg. There were so many waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kept pulling into them and then backing into them. So it was interesting because when we just kind of staked out a spot in the back of the boat, we would have people rush to us and then rush away. And it was just,
Yeah.
But we were just there, so.
And we got to see a bald eagle.
We did. A
Fly.
bald eagle fly in the wild. And it was majestic and lovely.
It was very, very cool. But that kind of wrapped up. Made our way back to the ship.
And got back on board late.
Yes. We met at 3:00. It was supposed to take about 3 hours. When we were checking in, they were saying 2.5 to 3 hours. We got back on board about like 6:20. So
the folks in the first dinner seating missed their dinner, from what we had heard.
Yeah. So luckily we had the late dinner.
But we were planning to see the magician this evening, but did not want to go in late.
Right. So we missed the magician, but he does a adults only show later this sailing.
And a magic class.
So that's exciting.
I'm excited about.
Yeah.
But we missed the magician and basically just kind of took the time to get our acts together for the rest of the evening.
Yes.
Also, my motion sickness medication wore off. We weren't thinking. It wore off during this excursion. And I will say that I did fine, but I also would not call this super motion sickness friendly.
It's a smaller boat, so the smaller the boat, the more you're going to feel the motion.
And that was another reason that we were hanging out at the back, because with the waves, it was like riding a horse instead of just the that happened in other parts of the ship.
True.
So, but I'm fine. I did okay. But just if you have motion sickness, keep that in mind. That, I mean, I had my C-bands on. Just be prepared. Don't do what I did.
Yeah. But back on board, we were getting ready for our frozen night. So got changed into some frozen themed attire.
I had my headpiece and my little sweatshirt with coal or stones like Olaf.
Yeah.
And it was lots of princesses, of course. Several men as Kristoff.
Yes.
In the same Amazon costume. Because they were like, hey, at each other. And then, as far as Olaf, it was small children, burly men, and me that we saw. So, that checks out.
But took some pictures with the backdrops and our frozen attire, and then went up to catch the Freezing the Night Away deck show for Frozen Night. I'll put a clip of that right here.
Hands down, this is the best day of my life.
Wait, everything's freezing over!
Hey everyone,
we found Elsa! Ladies and gentlemen, princes and princesses, I am thrilled to introduce my favorite sister. Well, she is my only sister, Queen Elsa! Hey sis! Be everywhere! Hello! I am so happy to meet you. Oh, it is! Are you ready, everyone? It's now time to let it go!
I don't know how much you were able to show with copyright stuff.
Yeah.
Because Olaf was just dancing his little snowy self off.
Yeah. This show was fine. It was It's not. I would say it's not one that I would go out of my way to see. If we had something else going on this night that we were to miss it, I would be okay with that.
We've seen it once.
That's enough, basically.
If we weren't doing anything else, maybe. But we have seen it.
Yeah. But after freezing the night away,
I loved Olaf shimmying.
True.
That was the highlight of the entire thing.
After freezing the night away, we went downstairs to Amir's pallet again for our dinner, and this was the frozen dinner. I will also preface this by we like Pirate Night's menu better.
I will say that we got lucky again that we were in Animator's palette because they had blue lighting and clips of snow falling in the background on the screens.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt more themed. I don't know how it would have felt in
Tiana's would have been
Tiana's.
weird to be Mardi Gras, but everyone's in frozen attire.
And a lot of people did not participate in dressing up.
True. But as far as the food goes, a lot of the food we've had versions of before, mainly on the Wish, because the Wish has the frozen restaurant. But appetizer-wise, we both ordered the same thing. So we had the Jarlsberg tart and the coronation scallop
Scallop puff pastry.
thing. Yeah. The tart was very good, I thought. I liked that one better than the scallops.
I liked the sauce with the tart.
Mhm.
The tart itself was fine.
It wasn't exceptional. Like, it was not anywhere near my favorite appetizer on Disney Cruise Line. The scallops, based on how they're prepared, tend to be overcooked. Today's were not too bad. I will say it was way better here than it was in the Wish.
I just made a huge mess breaking up the puff pastry, and then our service team just kept coming over. They have like a plastic knife thing that they sometimes scrape the crumbs off of your table. They try to scrape my crumbs like half a dozen times, but it stained the tablecloth, and they just kept trying.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an embarrassing appetizer for me, personally. But I also only got 2.5 scallops, and you got 3.
True. And then as far as entrees go, I ordered the recommendation of our server, both of my entrees. The honey mustard marinated or glazed salmon and the lobster ravioli. The salmon was not nearly as good as night one. It was not nearly as good as the tuna was last night. The salmon tonight was pretty dry. It was pretty overcooked. So not the best entree for me today.
It seemed like they were just having some trouble in the kitchen because our assistant server said that he had to wipe down plates for the lobster ravioli.
Yep.
The second entree you got and one that I had, because they were very messy.
And then, so the lobster ravioli was similar in flavor to the lobster pasta, which
it was odd that they recommended it because it has become such a thing around Disney Cruise Line nowadays that the servers are like, if you want that, we'll bring it, but you need to get something else.
Yeah.
Because people don't like it.
So.
But it basically tasted the same.
Yeah. So it was fine, but not exceptional by any means.
If I closed my eyes and smelled it, it smelled exactly like what I remembered for the lobster pasta. So I thought it was weird that it was like, if you want this, I will bring it with something else. But almost the same thing is, this is one of the top dishes on this menu.
Right.
So I don't know.
But kind of the star entree of the evening, for us at least, of the 3 that we had, was the one that you ordered,
Indeed. The vegetable turnover, vegetarian option.
Mhm.
It had a puff pastry that I thought was just sitting on top of a nice creamy mix of vegetables, prominently spinach, but no, it was stuffed full of the stuff too. So it was very filling. I couldn't eat it all.
Mhm.
But it was like if somebody was trying to feed a bunch of people and didn't know what to do, but they had spinach artichoke dip on hand. So we're gonna try to zhuzh it up a little bit, and it was not as like decadent as spinach artichoke dip. It was lighter than that, but that was a similar idea. So it was good. It was very heavy for being vegetables,
Mhm.
but I liked it. I would get it again. If we ever came across this menu again, I would get that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much else on the menu I would mess around with at this point.
No.
So maybe try a salad. The people near us got a salad and seemed fine with it.
True.
So
And then finally for desserts, we ordered all of the desserts except for the sundae, and the no sugar added dessert. So ordered 4 desserts total, 3 of which we've had before, 2 of which we've had before. We definitely had 2 out of the 4.
basically what happened is I asked about the Olaf's white chocolate florodome, I think is what it's called.
Which that one is unique to this menu.
Because I love carrot cake. That
Yes.
is like, if I pick something, it's carrot cake or pumpkin pie. I've had both of those as my birthday cakes many times. But I just straight up said, I love carrot cake. Am I gonna like this or am I gonna be disappointed? And was told it's very sweet. I will bring you that and the raspberry chocolate tart.
Mhm.
I said I am not a big fan of chocolate. They said, okay, then we'll bring you the florodome and the panacocken. And I said, okay. So those were my, I say loosely,
Mhm.
my, because we shared 2.
Yeah. And then I ordered the raspberry chocolate tart and the warm apple pudding cake.
The recommendations were the raspberry chocolate tart and the panacocken.
Yes. The warm apple pudding cake
I did not even try this.
was not great. It was fairly dry cake. It
For being drenched in liquid,
right.
the plate looked very wet.
Yeah, and it was still pretty dry. So not really sure what happened there. Flavor wise was pretty good, like it has potential, but
I do think there were some things that just were a little off today.
Yeah.
So on a good day, it's on paper that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But what was presented tonight was just okay.
And then similarly the raspberry chocolate tart, the top half was fantastic. The brownie base was pretty dry. So everything was dry today. So again, has the potential. If the base was a little bit less dry, I think that'd be a pretty good dessert. And then the 2 that you ordered.
So the florodome, I was told it's very sweet, and it was. But basically, the composition was a square, maybe shortbread. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't cut through it. But on top of that, in the midst of this white chocolate mousse was about the size of a
Truffle.
maybe a truffle, but it wasn't very thick, of like carrot cake truffle goo stuff. So it was mostly white chocolate.
Mhm.
I like white chocolate, so it was fine. I would have liked more carrot cake because it was about the size of like, I don't think it was quite like a Hostess snowball. I don't know that that's a great. I mean, it was about this wide and this tall, and it was about this much carrot cake in that space. So not a lot going on. And it was very sweet. It was fine. But I think the best dessert was the panacocken.
Yes, by far, with the lingonberry cream cheese filling. And we've had this one before on the Wish.
But I don't remember what we thought was a meringue in the middle was actually like
Cream cheese
frosting
shaped like meringue.
goo, but it was like jello.
Yeah.
So, because I was like, oh, I can cut into this. What is this? And smelled it and said, it smells like cream cheese frosting. And tasted it and said, it tastes like cream cheese frosting. What is this thing?
Yeah.
But the consistency was like flubber.
Yeah, it was pretty strange.
It was just bouncing around. So,
yeah.
But again, overall, that was the favorite dessert of the night.
Yes. But that kind of wrapped up our. Well, no, it did not wrap up our time in Animator's Palette because we had another serenade by Wes.
This evening we were given the options of Sound of Music or.
Yeah, he gave the options of Edelweiss or A Million Dreams from.
Well, he just said Greatest Showman.
Greatest
We
Showman.
didn't know what we were gonna
He
get.
said Dreams.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed that part. I just heard or Greatest Showman, and somebody said that one. So then he started singing.
Yeah.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me that I call my own. Through the dark and through the door, through no one's been before, and it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. But I don't care, so call me crazy. 'Cause we live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world.
Yes. So he was singing that, and then Krishna came out with his pepper shaker.
Krishna makes a guitar or ukulele out of a cloche and
A pepper grinder.
pepper grinder. So he just was. Apparently, this is just something the boys do.
Yeah. So we started something, and now it's going to be a very interesting remainder of the cruise because Wes is already planning out the songs he's going to sing each night. I can already tell.
He was concerned about Tiana's tomorrow because there's already a lot of music happening in there.
Yes, but he's going to try.
They were working very hard tonight.
They were.
So I don't think any of what we said as far as items we ate that weren't quite as good as they could have been, that's not on either of those two guys.
No.
So we're really happy. We've said multiple times that this is probably the best service team and also housekeeping staff that we have had on any cruise overall.
But that kind of wrapped up our evening with dinner. So now back in the room and ready to turn in for the night and put an end, nice bow on Glacier Day.
We're exhausted.
It's been a long day, a very tiring day. Tomorrow is going to be a long day too because it is our first port. So tomorrow we are in Skagway.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an excursion booked, not through Disney, but it is going to be a 8-hour excursion, 6 hour? I don't remember. I think it's an 8-hour. So long excursion ahead of us.
I just know that we have to meet 15 minutes before our time, which is 9 a.m.
Yes. So early day. We are in the port of Skagway for quite a while too. I think we're there until 8 p.m. So big day tomorrow.
Yes. It will be a visit to the Yukon, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So tune in tomorrow to see that, or sorry, tune in next week for that video tomorrow for us. But that will do it for us for today. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you real soon.